Oh man, we're just cranking through some reviews here tonight.
Like, when we really put our mind to cranking out some reviews, things happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all have, well, you and Colin have girlfriends. I'm alone, but, like, we have jobs and stuff. And
Hunter.
Yeah, I know. I'll always have you in some capacity.
That's not what I meant.
Fair enough. We'll talk about that off mic, but how's it going, guys? This is your old Uncle Hunter here, and I'm here with Scott, and we're doing a pre-review, which we haven't really done. I think the last time we did a pre-review was for Man of Steel. I think was the last time we did one of these, so it's been a while. And I don't want to do this all the time, but for like bigger movies like this, X-Men: Days of Future Past, which comes out a couple weeks after this does. Godzilla, I'd like to do one. We want to do some pre-reviews, kind of go over our expectations. And Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I am, needless to say, incredibly excited for. Spider-Man is actually the second comic. Actually, no, it's the first comic I actually ever read a full comic book run of as a kid. So Spider-Man has a very special meaning for me, and I've always read Spider-Man. I love the current Ultimate Spider-Man that they're doing right now. If you haven't read that, please go pick that up. Download it off for your tablet, or go to your latest comic book store and grab it. It's an amazing run that Marvel's doing with that. But with this movie coming out, I gotta admit, I liked the reboot of the Amazing Spider-Man. I thought it was really good. I didn't think it was perfect. If there's any criticism I have right off the bat, is I feel like maybe they're so intent on proving that this is going to be bigger and better than the first one, that they've let a lot of things like out as far as in the trailer. Like, a lot of things I've seen, I've been like, oh, I kind of wish you had played that a little closer to the chest. I feel like the trailers have revealed a little too much, but it would be nice to get the view of someone who hasn't read the comic. So, what do you think of what you've seen so far?
I mean, it looks exciting, and I mean, it seems like every movie, comic book movie, it just seems like they keep getting better, not necessarily in the writing or producing or anything, but just like the effects and the way movies are put together. I feel like it's become just such a fine art that like people are beginning to master, and it seems like this movie kind of is along that progression of like these amazing movies. We just saw Captain America 2.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty incredible movie.
It really was.
And I don't know, I think they're just constantly stepping their game up with these, just especially these superhero movies.
One thing I want to touch on right off the bat, and I haven't posted the blog about this, but at least I am. I don't know. Maybe I can convince you and Colin to do it once a week, but I'm going to start keeping a Real Pineapple blog, at least for myself. I'm going to start writing about just random things that I see. And one thing that really pissed me off is people more flipped out about, it's a totally different conversation, but they're doing the new Fantastic Four movie next year, and there are a bunch of people flipping out on the internet about the fact that the Human Torch, who Chris Evans, Captain America, played, in the last couple movies, about how they casted Michael B. Jordan from Fruitvale Station as Human Torch, and people are freaking out. They're like, he's black, he can't be Human Torch, and I'm just like, shut the fuck up. You see the last Fantastic Four movies? They were horrendous. Like, at this point, we should be happy that they're going a different direction. And there's kind of a similar situation with Jamie Foxx's Electro. People are like, why is there a black guy playing a white supervillain? Why is he black? That's not fair. I'm just like...
You know why he was a white supervillain? Because back when they actually wrote him into this story, it was okay. It was like, for you, it was just the norm to have white characters.
Exactly.
Just as every character, there weren't any minority characters.
And what kind of pisses me off even more is that we're complaining about an Oscar-winning actor being cast in a role.
Right. This isn't some nobody.
Yeah, I mean, if they cast Tyler Perry as Electro, I'd be like, oh my god, I totally understand why everyone's freaking out. But this is Jamie Foxx, who's had a really good film career for a guy who started off playing, you know, a woman in drag on In Living Color. I mean, he's turned into quite an actor. So it's like, people, let's give the guy a shot. Let's let him, you know, act this out. But, you know, one thing I'm a little bummed about is that they've revealed, and this is kind of something that I hope Marvel doesn't do too much of, is that with revealing what movies are in production, you automatically give spoilers for movies that are immediately coming out. And Fox, Sony, pardon me, kind of laid their hand down with some post Spider-Man movies that are coming out after this, as far as some of the outcome for certain things. And I was just kind of like, I really wish you hadn't made that public. I wish you would have waited till after the movie came out before you made these announcements. So I feel like sometimes these companies kind of shoot themselves in the foot as far as revealing stuff. And it's like, I didn't want to know that. I kind of wish you had just left it alone. But
I think that also comes with the territory of trailers, is they kind of lead you on that maybe it's going to go a certain way or another, and you think that... Because I do this all the time where I'll watch the trailer and be like, oh, I already know what this movie's about. And then I go and watch it, and I'm like, okay, I had no idea where it was going. So I feel like that's possibly maybe what you're feeling, is just that, like, maybe they've led you... But you know the comics, so you know where the story goes. But
yeah,
I think in the movie sense, there's going to be a lot more... Obviously, there's going to be a lot more plot points that you wouldn't have guessed.
Okay, well, I will say one thing right now. We're going to get into some spoilers from the comic books, so if you don't want to know anything that could potentially happen, just tune out right now. I'll give you guys 10 seconds. Let's see here.
I'll tune out.
Do 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 do.
Is this a Spider-Man spoiler?
Okay. It's not really a spoiler, but I just want to give people a chance to turn away. Like, if the thing is with this, with some of the villains that they have, if you've read the comics, you know it could be leading one way, and I'm gonna be very vague, so it's not to spoil anything for you. But I'm intrigued if they have the balls to go this direction, because it's a very, how do I put this? It's a very Avengers-esque direction that they could go if they have the guts to actually push this issue. So, I mean, and one thing that me and Colin have always said, especially when it comes to movies, is that competition is great for everybody, because it makes everyone else kind of go back and go like, oh, well, we have to be better than Marvel or DC or whatever. And so, and I think we don't give enough credit to the Avengers, because I think the Avengers coming out, I mean, you look at it, X-Men was big before the Avengers came out, and now everybody's kind of like, oh, X-Men's so cute over there, and you know, you have the Avengers. So now with the Avengers being what it is, now other companies are like, oh man, we have to create our own shared universe, you know, to compete, and that's great for if you're a comic book fan, because there's so many more possibilities now that
it's becoming very popular. Like not just the cultural, the cultural like acceptance of geekiness, but like kind of opening people's eyes to these completely badass movies about comic books.
Yeah, like. One thing I will say, just from watching the trailer in 3D, IMAX 3D, pardon me, because IMAX 3D is amazing. Let's just get that out of the way. One thing I noticed just from a technical standpoint is the way Spider-Man moves. It's the most realistic thing I've seen in the comic, just from the trailers I've seen so far. Like
we saw this trailer in IMAX 3D, and they give you kind of a POV like lens of like him web like swinging through the city, and it's just really intense. I can't imagine seeing it on a huge screen like that.
Yeah, and you watch it and you're just like, wow. And I mean, and it's the little things, just even from his the costume, like waving in the wind, you're like, wow, they really paid attention just to even the physics of this. And the way he moves is very, assuming Spider-esque. You're just like, as realistic as you can make a guy in a Spider-Man costume swing around. You're just like, wow. And it really showcases one thing that I think this movie is going to improve on from the first one. It showcases the acrobatics of him having these powers. So you're just like, wow, this looks really good. And one of the last clips you see is him against Green Goblin, who's played by Dane DeHaan, who of course played oh my god, why am I blanking on his name? Not Maxwell. Damn it! Why can't I remember his name from Chronicle? I can't remember his character's name is all of a sudden, but he was in Chronicle and he played Andrew. That was it, and he plays Green Goblin. It looks like, and you see just a snippet of this fight scene they have in a clock tower, and it looks so intense, and just like how it's counter for counter, so many of the moves. It's like, wow.
Even like his what was the Green Goblin's the thing he rides on?
The glider.
The glider. Even that looks really cool. I remember when I first saw it in just the previous Spider-Man series, that I was like, oh, that's so cool. But they just stepped up the game. Like, it's huge.
Yeah, I think it goes a long way with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone actually being a real life couple, because that was one of the big things from the first movies, that their romance and their, let's face it, their cuteness, it was a nice emotional balance for the film. So when things happen, you're like,
technically speaking,
cuteness. Their cuteness. Yeah, that's a technical term.
That's like a movie term.
That's the exact term is cuteness. But just them playing off each other, you're like, oh, these guys are actually really cute to get together. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Gwen Stacy was Peter Parker's first love before Mary Jane, so please get that correct. That this bothers me when people think that. Anyways. But it looks like it's stepping up its game in pretty much every aspect I could ask for. The only thing I'm really kind of concerned with is I'm getting that Spider-Man 3 kind of vibe, that maybe they're going to try and take on too much and not be able to have it all flush out and make sense. So I'm a little worried about that. I'll be the first to admit. But I'm hoping for the best. If I'm given a pre-grade as far as what I'm expecting a B, because to be perfectly honest with you, I just think they're gonna have too many moving pieces to make it an A for Amazing Spider-Man movie. I'm a little worried, to be honest with you. So I'm trying to hinder my expectations a little bit.
Okay, cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, because look, the last couple of Spider-Man movies, like the Amazing Spider-Man was a really good movie. It wasn't amazing, and Spider-Man 3 was a piece of crap. So I'm very cautious when it comes to Spider-Man, because it's very near and dear to me. So and I'll be the first to admit, I might be a little harder on it, but it's such a well done character, and I feel like it deserves the cinematic praise that it really deserves, and it just hasn't happened yet. So I'm going.
Well, I think you could agree the first Amazing Spider-Man was probably the closest it's come to
it, by far.
Yeah,
it's not even a contest. But I mean, I still had some issues.
Oh
with
yeah.
that. But I'm hoping it builds on what the first Amazing Spider-Man was. So I'm optimistic. Just to get this out of the way, one of my biggest complaints about the first Amazing Spider-Man was the costume. I was just like, oh god, it looks so trashy and looks so kindergarten-esque, and god damn it. Like this one, it felt like they were like, alright, look, this kid...
Well, do you think that goes along with the storyline? Like, he made his own suit. Like, it's gonna look a little janky.
Yeah, and that's why I almost forgive it. But this one, they did clearly go like, all right, maybe he learned to sew in the time between the first and second one.
That's what I didn't like about the previous series of Spider-Mans was the suit was like shiny.
Yeah,
and that kind of bugged me.
One thing I will say about the original suit is that it was like. And that's one thing I do appreciate about this is like the first movie you do see the costume like, oh man, it looks a little rough, but it's like it was the first costume we put together. What do you want from the kid? You want him to be a pro from the first costume. So this time it seems like at least he's been being Spider-Man for a little while, so he has a better handle or web on things, if you will. so
gets in a sticky situation.
There you go. Yeah. Well, if you're dating Emma Stone, you would too. But I mean, so you didn't. But overall, it seems like that actually is a pretty logical point that they're kind of addressing. So I'm going into it. You know what? I'm gonna go into it with a B plus. Now I think about it. I don't think it'll be an A. I don't know if they can get there. Maybe if the third one they can, but I'm being cautiously optimistic, as you said. So I'm gonna go B plus. I think it'll be a B plus. Walking out of it. What do you think, Scott?
I don't usually like to give a grade before a movie, but I'll make an exception.
Oh, you're so sweet to these people.
Honestly, from what I've seen so far, what I've seen from the last movie, I am expecting an A minus.
Really?
To an A.
Wow.
I'm expecting to give it an A, but probably I'm going in a little more cautious than that, but not much.
Fair enough. Yeah, I gotta admit.
And you know me in A's.
I do. I know you do not give out A's just willy nilly. Or Spidey Whitey.
You gotta earn that A.
That's true, but
it's no easy A.
Very nice. My God, I can't believe you said that. But yeah, overall, guys, I think it's gonna be a really great movie. It's gonna be interesting to see how this sets up future things. Because again, I'm not giving anything away, but for those of you who are comic book nerds and have read the comics, you do get some Easter eggs that indicate kind of the direction they're going with Spider-Man. So I'm intrigued to see if they actually follow up with the things or if they're just kind of putting him in to appease fans. So it'll be interesting to see where they go. We'll have a review for that day it comes out. We will be at the midnight screening for that. So hang in with us, subscribe, and keep listening. All right, have a good night, guys.
Peace.